Welcome on in, everybody. Tobin here with you. Thanks for checking out the channel. If you guys could subscribe here and also subscribe to the Tobin and Leroy show, weekdays 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. on WQAM's YouTube and Twitch page and on the Odyssey app. Check us all out over there. And we have lots of fun. So the news yesterday from Ian Rapoport confirming a lot of fears, a lot of things that were reported over the weekend, that the Miami Dolphins are not going to use their franchise tag on Christian Wilkins, and he is in fact going to hit free agency. And for the Miami Dolphins, look, not putting the franchise tag on him if you're still confident that he is going to come back, probably a smart move. You don't have to clear out the money as of yet. You could still go and give him a contract and lower his number. So look, this isn't the death blow for the Miami Dolphins, but I will say, this remains, to me, one of the crazy mistakes that this team has made. The fact that they went into last year and didn't pay Christian Wilkins and didn't give him what he wanted because they basically said, he doesn't get sacks, which I thought was so dumb with his tackles for loss, with the impact that this guy makes on the game. The fact that he's arguably Chris Greer's best draft pick, and the idea that the Miami Dolphins have put themselves in this position that they're going to lose the heart and soul of their defense is crazy to me. I mean, it's absolutely nuts, that the Miami Dolphins are putting themselves in this position to lose the anchor of their defense, because you can talk about all the pieces that are going to stay and that you'll still have Zach Sealer, and that maybe you could find another, plug guy that it'll be fine. Maybe you will. And maybe that will happen. I'm not going to rule it out. I never want to go and look at something and say, well, there's no way the Dolphins can recover from this. It is the NFL. There could be some guy that can plug in. But from my standpoint is, this guy, typically, when you make a draft pick like this and you recognize the talent, the intangibles this guy brings to the game, the heart, the leadership that he brings to this team, how he bothers other opponents, I just think it's a bad look. I think it's a bad look to let that kind of talent walk out the door, especially if you get nothing for him. That's crazy to me. Like, if the Dolphins are going to be in this position where they're just going to end up empty-handed and losing Christian Wilkins is nutty. But I thought this last year when the Miami Dolphins, I guess I shouldn't be as surprised that they're at this point, because they picked their price point last year and they got burned. They got simply burned. They thought, Christian, go have the year that you're going to have. He does his little Holden, does the Holden as classy as possible, never really made the contract thing a distraction, never really made it an issue, never really made it a thing that was a focus point of the team. He always put the focus on the team. And even when his friend got paid last year, and Zach Sealer, he was nothing but jovial and joyful for his friend, Zach Sealer. And I just think that speaks to the kind of character that the guy seems to have. So the point of the Miami Dolphins being in this spot where he's going to now get wined and dined by the Patriots or the Texans, and you may think, but we'll always have the final say. We'll always get to go. Maybe that is what's going to happen. I can't say for sure that it won't happen, but to open yourself up, that this to be in a spot where this man could get wooed by, you're not just a cog in the wheel, you're not just one of our pieces, you're not just the nice player, that to be treated like a superstar, to be treated like a top recruit. This guy's looked upon. You look at all the free agent lists, he's basically anywhere from, I think the lowest I saw him on PFF was like 7, but in a lot of lists he's like top 3. Everyone's basically saying Chris Jones, Kirk Cousins, and then Christian Wilkins. So everybody recognizes the talent. Everybody recognizes what this guy brings to the table. The only thing anybody could hold against him last year was sacks in relation to his peers, and he eradicated that. And the thing is, you think back to last year, and you think back to all the injuries that this team had, the Bradley Chubbs, the Jalen Phillips, the Van Ginkles, the cornerback. This Dolphins defense really did hold up okay. They did give opportunities. Yes, there was a lot of bend and don't break, and that's a lot of what Vic Fangio and his philosophy was. But if you just don't think that the anchoring of Sealer and Wilkins and what they were able to do last year, these guys didn't have any backups. No friggin' backups last year. It was basically those guys going out there, playing all the snaps, durable as hell, keeps himself in fantastic shape, and you want to sit here and you want to quibble about, well, we can't put this much money into defensive tackle. No. You got to put money into your best players. You have to put money into your best players. And when you find somebody who plays like that and you drafted them and you just get to the point, like, how much better could a guy do to feel like they've earned a deal, right? And we're sitting here and we're talking about, Tua and what do you pay Tua? And I get it. Quarterback, defensive tackle, tomatoes, potatoes, right? Like, it's different. But you have no questions about whether or not Christian Wilkins is an elite player. With Tua, all right, I'm a big Tua fan. If they pay him, I'm not going to be mad. But in fairness, we could all say, yeah, Tua's got things that he's got to answer, and Tua's got things that he's got to prove. And look, to Tua's credit, the guy works his ass off. I think that he will prove those things. I saw the story that, he's going to get a personal quarterback coach, so he's going to be doing even more improvement. We saw what he was able to do last year with the jiu-jitsu and the falling and trying to fix that part of his game. One thing with Tua that you have to acknowledge is usually when he sees a hole, he acknowledges it, he recognizes it, and then finds the way how they're going to go plug those holes. But even still, there are questions, right? With Wilkins, there are no questions. And so I just found it to be crazy from the standpoint of Chris Grier, whose drafting is uneven. He's got some hits, got some big whiffs. It's the game, right? But to make these splashy trades, and I guess the one I always go to is the Bradley Chubb one. Like, you bring in Bradley Chubb, you give him $1 gazillion, you give up a pick for him, and you wanted to make that a win-now move. Tua got hurt. Okay. But how do you think everybody looks at that when you bring in Chubb, who's not a perfect pass rush player? He's not, like, I think, looked upon as one of the best in the league, but is a nice player. It has his questions and had durability questions, and what do you know, also suffered a bad injury. You have Christian Wilkins, who's probably looking at that and be like, well, Chubb got that. What am I going to get for as far as importance on the defense is concerned? And to that regard, like, you think about the pressure this team was able to bring and the guys that were in and the guys that were out. You don't think having those guys up front was a big cause of that, and the type of energy that Christian Wilkins plays with wasn't a big part of that? Just to let the idea that you're going to let that walk out the door and possibly to a division rival, if the Patriots get in the game and you have home calling for Christian Wilkins, I don't know. And then the thing that's interesting about it is, when this happened with Mike Gesicki, we all kind of recognized it, right? They put the franchise tag on him, but we knew immediately, like, this ain't going to work out. This coach is going to... Wilkins, come on. Who's not going to figure out how to work a guy like Christian Wilkins? Even Anthony Weaver was praising him up and down before at his intro press conference, probably too much, not realizing that the Miami Dolphins might not be able to bring him back. And the one thing I want to say, and the one thing that I want all fans to be clear of, believe in the team, whatever you want to do. Support the team, that's cool. But I'm not going to play the game where, Christian Wilkins, yeah, but he doesn't have this, or he doesn't have that to his game, or he's not Chris Jones. Let me tell you something. If the Dolphins don't have a Chris Jones card up their sleeve after all this is said and done, yeah, they're going to be significantly worse. You couldn't find a Dolphin that there's not many Dolphins you could look to last year and say, who was better at their job than Christian Wilkins was? Tyreek Hill, maybe Mostert, if you want to say, because of the amount of touchdowns, maybe Mostert. Although there's Dolphin fans, who would be fine replacing him with Derrick Henry. But all right, Tyreek Hill, Raheem Mostert. Let's put Tua there to be generous. Jalen Ramsey. Who else gets to be on that list? None of the pass rushers. None of the linebackers. Zach, not better than Zach Sealer. I love Zach. Who's a bigger Zach Sealer fan than me? Nobody. Like Austin Jackson. Like, who? So you're letting a top 5, probably in my mind, a top 3 guy who, one of your top 3 players, in my opinion, last year, just let him walk out the door. And all the guy wanted was to be shown a little bit of appreciation last year for being an elite player. You knew that he was. And you still might get burned on this. Maybe he'll end up. I'm still praying to the football gods that it happens. But the idea that we've gotten to this place with Christian Wilkins, big mistake on my end, and thinking from the front office's standpoint. Hate it. Hate the idea that this is going to happen. Hate the idea that he's going to be at, probably giant Texas steakhouses getting wooed, or the Sully and Murphs are going to roll out the red carpet for him in New England. And they're going to treat him like the star he deserves to be treated like. And meanwhile, the Dolphins are going to kind of hope that a wink and a nod will get them one more crack at the, hey, what are you going to offer me to keep him here? And if he's a great guy, maybe that'll happen, but there's no guarantee because you blew your chance. If I'm Christian Wilkins, hey, you had your chance to have the exclusive window to me. You had your chance for the wink and the nod. You had your chance for the good deal, the hometown, I don't want to say discount because he's not asking for a discount, but the hometown benefits. And you blew it. And now we're here and we wait. And Christian Wilkins is about to go on a lot of fancy dates.